Hey there everyone, it's GG Sober Son. May 25th. In 12-step work, the third thing is conviction. Prospects must be convinced that they honestly want to stop drinking. They must see and admit that their life is unmanageable. They must face the fact that they must do something about their drinking. They must be absolutely honest with themselves and face themselves as they really are. They must be convinced that they must give up drinking, and they must see that their whole life depends on this conviction. Do I care enough about other alcoholics to help them reach this conviction? Well, like I mentioned the other day, I think in God's hands, my dark past is the greatest possession I have. And it does provide a kind of, what do they call it, in conversation when someone mirrors your behavior, whether it's crossing your arms or something like that. When we demonstrate vulnerability in our own shares about our own problems, and the problems, especially the problems that we've overcome because we've been there and we've overcome them, then it enables the other person. It doesn't necessarily enable them, but it provides an opportunity for them to mirror that behavior. It's let's put it this way. I try to avoid regret. However, when I was spending time just alone with my dad in his last days, there was plenty of opportunity for me to confess to him some of the things that I did as sneaky ways of mine, and that kind of stuff. I had an opportunity to do that, and I think it would have maybe helped him unburden himself. I'll never know, because I didn't take that opportunity. And I think one of the reasons it didn't even come to mind really was that during that period of my life, I was not going to AA meetings. So I forgot about the simple kit of spiritual tools that I had available to me. All I was thinking about was my own pain and some of the things, old behaviors that I had adopted in that pain and grief. And so I was very wrapped up in self anyway, that's where I was at the time, and I grew past that, and I hope to never neglect my AA meetings, never in any way, shape, or form think that somehow I don't need to go to those meetings anymore. And that was the main thing about my experimentation with marijuana, was that I thought that I could kind of compartmentalize them, and that, well, it's legal now, so I'm doing it for medicinal reasons or what have you. And I thought, well, if it starts to cause a problem in my life, problems meaning the problems I ran into were so just like not able to deal with daily life on life's terms. But those types of things really started to mount up, and my fear was I was still going to meetings, but obviously I wasn't sharing about that. But I felt myself pulling away from meetings and not being as genuine and honest and open about what's going on in my life and during my shares. So at any rate, I feel it's important for me to be open and honest about most everything in my life, because it does provide an opportunity. Now, I wouldn't advise always being an open book to everyone. People need to earn that. And I feel like people who are willing to come to Alcoholics Anonymous are at a point in their life where they're ready to hear some vulnerability, regardless of how they got there. You know, whether it's a judge's nudge or an ultimatum from a spouse or a life partner or what have you, or a boss, they get to see some vulnerability. Ooh, this is really looking cliff-like almost. You get all those like white cliffs of Dover effect. It's pretty cool. Anyway, meditation for the day. There is no limit to what you can accomplish in helping others. Keep that thought always. Never relinquish any work or give up the thought of any accomplishment because it seems beyond your power. God will help you in all good work. Only give it up if you feel that it's not God's will for you. In helping others, think of the tiny seed under the dark, hard ground. There is no certainty that when it has forced its way up to the surface, sunlight and warmth will greet it. Often, a task seems beyond your power, but there is no limit to what you can accomplish with God's help. And it really has to be God's guidance. I don't know if I've shared this on here before, but when I first started attending the church community that I'm a part of in its current location, I sat in the back most of the time because I know my tendency. I'll go and volunteer for everything, and it'll become please love me kind of thing. I don't know if that's entirely true or not, but I sat in the back just kind of observing. I enjoyed it for sure because of the multiple pastors' willingness to be vulnerable about their struggles and whatnot. Anyway, I was sitting in the back and I thought, okay, I finally made the decision. Yeah, I'm all in. Okay, God, where do I fit in with service? I don't want to just volunteer. Where do you need me? Because, that might not be the best fit for me. So I was sitting in the back, and some of you know that I'm involved with IT work, and the back is where the cameras were. Camera 1 and camera 2. One day I show up and a guy is jumping back and forth between the two cameras, making adjustments, talking on the headsets, making adjustments, jumping to the other, talking on the headset. And he seemed like he was having a good time, he was laughing and joking and everything, and it was pretty thin service for whatever reason. At any rate, I finally said to him, do y'all need some help? And he was like, you know how to operate one of these? I was like, well, I'm sure I can figure it out. if somebody guides me. And that's basically all I do with my tech work. You know, I get on the phone with a remote tech support guy, and he usually talks me through the troubleshooting process. And that's just how it worked out. I prayed for weeks. I was like, God, where do I fit in? I wanna help out. Where do I fit in? And there you have it. And I've been on the camera ever since. And I was pretty active with my men's group for Man Cave Monday. But I found that, especially after my long-term relationship ended last December, I just felt like I couldn't be around the smoking and drinking and stuff like that. That ministry is for reaching men who don't like going to church. You know? And that's cool. I love that. It's just that I had to boil it down. What is that? What is that ministry? What is that function on Mondays? And it's to reach guys who don't like going to church, or guys who don't have a problem with alcohol and cigars and whatnot, but they like to imbibe every now and then. That's just part of who they are. I mean, obviously, I wouldn't be doing this channel if I could get away with that. And I just felt like super vulnerable after my breakup, and I didn't think I could be a part of it. So, at any rate, I just now I'm on the prayer team, though, you know, so my focus has shifted. I go to a men's breakfast on Tuesday mornings instead of hanging out smoking cigars and drinking with the fellas on Monday night. Not that I drank, but they would be drinking, you know. So anyway, that's how that worked out for me. Prayer for the day. I pray that I may never become discouraged in helping others. I pray that I may always rely on the power of God to help me. Oh, couldn't do it. Couldn't do it at all if God wasn't helping me. So I will keep coming back. Love y'all. Thanks for letting me share. Look up, aim up, and rise up.